Perfect. So hello, everybody. Welcome to Saturdays with Spirit. I am Dallisa Hawking. I'm the CEO of Spirit and Spark, and we are coming to you from the fabulous city of Las Vegas. So I've got a very spirited panel today. We sit down before we go live and we go over questions, and we are going to really get into the weeds today with faith, religion, and God. Mm-hmm. As we said, just like a basic topic, no big deal. No big deal. So what I want to do first is go around the panel and have them introduce themselves and tell you a little bit more about who they are, so you have some context as you listen to our show today. So let's start over here with the beautiful Michelle and her maroon fiery color today. That was intentional, I know.
Probably. I'm Michelle. I have been a psychic medium since 3. I'm also a Reiki master, practitioner, and teacher.
Perfect. All right, Jen.
I'm Jennifer Freer. I'm a yoga instructor, meditation instructor, energy practitioner, psychic, intuitive, all the things.
Lots of good stuff. Yeah. And April.
Well, where do I begin? So, hypnotherapist, a Grace Space hypnotherapy student, and so I'm doing that right now. So, hypnotherapy, and I've been working with the Wayshowers College as a spiritual educator for about 10 years. I do a lot of psychic development and angel communication classes, and that's what I do.
Just like a few things here or there.
Yeah, just a few things.
Yeah, perfect. And we all live in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting city, a lot of duality. Mm-hmm. Where you have darkness, you also have a lot of light. So, comment and let us know where you're watching from. We love to know where our audience is. We get a lot of people from Las Vegas because that's where we're based out of, but we have people all over the world that watch. So please comment, let us know city and state. And if you're not watching in the US, let us know what country you're watching from. We appreciate you tuning in and joining us for this video today. So as I said, I'm Dallisa. I'm a 5th generation psychic medium. It's on my dad's side of the family, my grandmother, her grandmother, and I have a lot of fun operating Spirit and Spark, and we have an amazing team. So faith, religion, and God is our topic, as I mentioned before. So why don't we just get into it and rip the Band-Aid off and start talking about religion and spirituality. So when you think about religion and you think about spirituality, where do you feel like there's a difference between the two? What's the difference between spirituality and religion?
Religion is more somebody else has organized it, whereas spirituality is following your own path and learning to follow that.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say religion for me is connecting with a something outside of you versus something, and spirituality is more with connecting something within you that you're a part of.
Okay. What do you feel, April?
Kind of like what Jennifer said. Religion for me is something outside myself. So having to listen or be guided, and then, by that, and then spirit for me is, like one of my friends says, God is a little cup of me. So that's my spirit. I have that within me. I have all the wisdom, and I've come in with that. So that's what spirit means to me.
And do you feel that spirit and God is a part of all of us? Do you think that we are all part of the same source energy?
Yeah, like
yes.
one
light.
consciousness.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I feel that in my experience, that's where I feel spirituality and religion may not always align. I've been to a variety of different churches, and I think they all add value. But I've felt sometimes sitting there, they just said that we're not all connected and that's not the same as this over here. And I'm like, wait a second. It just doesn't align with me, because I feel personally that we're all connected and
Right.
we're all part of that same universal God source energy.
It's like energy. When you're taught basic tenets of energy, it's that energy doesn't go away, it just changes form. And so we have that energy within us. It comes into us at birth, it leaves when we pass on, but it just changes. It's not gone. So that allows the spirituality to continue.
I heard it explained one time it's like the ocean. It's all the big ocean, but we're one drop of the ocean that's all connected to make one big ocean.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
Yeah.
we're one drop.
Yeah.
So we talked about value of religion a little bit. So where do you feel like there is value in religion?
Well, maybe a need. I mean, if I've discovered a lot of my own past lives, and so I've been someone of the Muslim faith, someone of Native American faith, someone of Catholic faith in past lives. So each time I've incarnated, I've learned and grown as an energy in a body, something from that I needed. You know, so it's an add to, and now today I don't do any of that. So my faith is inside myself, the spirit within me. So I just think every stepping stone, every incarnation is my own personal growth.
Yeah, absolutely. Where do you feel like value comes in with religion?
Well, I think people are drawn to a religion is because they want to meet like-minded people who, know that there's something bigger than just the physical, the body and and earth and all the stuff. But I think for a long time, for hundreds of years, we all commune together and worship God together. And in some parts of the country, that's all that's available to them versus, not talking about that stuff. And so I think it definitely brings an awareness that has value, and being able to have a structure of being able to pray or read spiritual literature and stuff like that is definitely an appeal to religion. So that's why I feel like it does add value.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Where do you feel like religion adds value?
I think the community that you get with being at a church or wherever it is that you go for that religious experience. I also think that as humans, we like our routine. And when you start off as a child in a religion, you get that routine. And there are things to this day that I'll follow because those were the routines of my childhood and they matter to me. So I think a lot of it for human beings is in order to stay connected, we do like our routines.
Absolutely. I do think community is a big piece of why religion and church and going to church is attractive to people. I like feeling like I'm part of a community.
Yeah.
Right.
And the rituals, I would agree, we'll talk about it in a little bit, but, I grew up in one faith that is not the faith that I practice in terms of going to church every week. But I think that the community and ritual and the coming together, I think is an important piece of it, because you pull that forward through your life.
And you make it into what you need it to be as you get older. Instead of it just being what you were taught, you make it into what you actually need as a person in order to go out there and do better by yourself and better by your family, your friends, and your own community.
When we think about church and going every week or most weeks, why do you feel someone should go to church? Is there a reason why you feel like somebody should go there? And it kind of goes back maybe to the point of you within yourself or connected to the grand being.
I don't think that we should ever tell anybody that they have to go anywhere or do anything that they're not resonating with. I do think that for people who do resonate with that kind of situation, then they should feel free to go and do that. And they'll be with like-minded people, which is very supportive when they need someone. But at the same time, if you don't want to go to church, I don't think you should have to.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's any shoulds. How's that? No shoulds.
Yeah.
It's just energy, right? So it's just, I energetically have a connection to be pulled in that way. So something must that I need to learn from that.
Right.
And it could be a connection, a belonging, on a deep soul level, you're getting something out of the opportunity.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were saying we don't believe in coincidences earlier. And I don't think there are any accidents. And so to your point, I think sometimes you feel spirit guide you to a church or to a group of people, and then you end up discovering things about yourself and things that make sense to you. Maybe you meet someone that you were destined to meet.
Mm-hmm.
So you feel your way through it and decide what makes sense to you. I think is what we're saying. Yeah. Did you have something you wanted to add?
Well, I think also just going a little bit further, a place of church can look different for anyone. Like for my church, it's where I practice yoga every day and, pray and meditate and learn about different things and align my chakras and get all that moving. So that for me is my school, my church. So I think it's just like we've been talking about, anywhere where you can learn some about yourself or self-awareness and about energies and all of that stuff. I think that's a church. And so I think in 2019 a church can be anything as long as it's bringing you joy, consciousness. So
Absolutely, great point. I think there has been the previously defined churches, and then what we are making them today,
Right.
and gathering together and like-minded people and community.
Yeah.
But asking like big questions,
yeah.
and searching within ourselves, and then how we are all interconnected.
But they all have value, and you can have not gone to church for a really long time, and you go just one time, and you get something out of the experience. Maybe it's the way you reconnect to your God or your soul or your spirit or whatever. But for each person, it's going to be different, and so nobody should judge it.
Are you finding that people are being turned off by religion these days?
Yes.
I think people are, we're so lucky in this times of social media and Facebook and Instagram that I think people are just really rediscovering, what spirit means to them, and what, how they want to be. They're not, in my day, I had to go to church Sunday morning, Sunday evening, Wednesday morning, Thursday night. I had a lot of traditional religious experiences. So today I think people just like finding like what is really tuning in. We're really lucky today. We have so much like psychic development, and we're sensitives. So how is our sensitivity? And we have these beautiful holistic centers that we can come to and start having these discoveries of something besides what someone at the pulpit is telling me.
Yeah. Do you feel that people are being turned off by religion?
I definitely think it's becoming a pretty controversial topic, and I think people's opinions of religion or what they think. Like, for example, I think more people that I've talked to have sided with spirituality versus religion, just because religion is kind of is not, for me, is not really the word that it was. It's more like religion to me sounds like conservative, conformity, restricted, limited, all of that stuff, because of what has been shown out through history. So I think that people are being more turned off to religion versus like meditating and going within and really kind of asking those questions of, maybe this isn't outside of myself type of deal, or maybe, my God isn't a God that makes me want to suffer or feel like a sinner. He loves me for who I am, or, it doesn't even matter if it's God, universe, whatever. But I think definitely people are moving away from religion or even just the word religion and more into spirituality.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of you feel like you have to conform with religion to whatever they are teaching or pushing at that particular time. And because the life has evolved, we are different people now. We find different things acceptable. We would never say that it's okay to own slaves anymore. And yet religions pick and choose which parts of that they're going to say is okay to change and which is not okay to change. And I think that turns off the younger generations who are learning from parents who have evolved that, hey, figure out who you are and go with that. We want you to own who you are. Still be a good person, but we want you to be based on what your ideals are. We want love to be love. And whatever form that takes, as long as you're not hurting anyone, then that should be okay. And I think as we evolve more and more and more, these antiquated rules that were written down to control society are going to have to shift and change as well.
Yeah, and I'm sure as you're watching this, you may have some questions. We are taking questions from the audience, so just comment on the video and let us know what your question is, and we can certainly consider that and answer that during this broadcast. So when we think about now, because obviously we feel like religion was a big piece of where we've been, but as we're seeing the trend move forward, it's not so much about organized religion. But why do you think now? Why are we going through this shift now?
Because we left the age of Pisces and we went into the age of Aquarius.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So do you know much about like the age of
No.
Aquarius? Okay, so is it more about like just this mass awakening?
So Aquarius in general, more eccentric, the more out there, the more individual, the more about humanity than about rules and following, the standard norms. Aquarians are, kind of like the astrological rebel makers. We like to stand out and we like to be a little pissy about it sometimes. Excuse my French. And so I think that as we left Pisces, which was very much a brotherhood type sign, we're going into an age where it's not so male dominated, and so the women are coming out, and we're like, well, we don't need a man telling us what to think anymore. Stood at the pulpit telling us we should stay home and bake. We want to go out there and live, and we want to do it on our terms. And I think that's where the changes started to come, and it started, in the last century a little bit, and it's slowly becoming more and more, and it's moving quicker and quicker. But that's evolution. And because of the whole shift in energy, it allows you to be more receptive.
Yeah. Why do you think it's now?
Gosh, I think it's just the evolution, evolution of the soul. So we've evolved, and some of us have been here many times. So we come to planet Earth, and it feels normal. And some of us are really new to planet Earth. So the ones that have keep coming back, it's just that evolution of learning and growing, and those, we're here to do something. And so what we learned and growed from before wouldn't work for us now.
Right.
There's that many of us here to bring that state of consciousness and that level of vibration higher than we've been ever before. So it's just the evolution of the planet only can contain so much. It has to grow. It has to do that. And women are stepping into their power to do that, saying, I can do it now. I've grown so much from those past lives. I'm here to evolve that. That's my take.
Yeah, I love that. I agree with all of it too. I definitely feel that it is an evolution process, that the earth is lighter than it's ever been. It's the best that it's ever been. And, we are stepping, like when we started going to the Aquarius age and people started meditating and doing yoga and going within, and, when you become conscious yourself and are able to share that light, you begin to share that light with others. So then naturally that raises the vibration of the earth. And so that's why we're all kind of being called to, I know my mom and my mom's generation are a bunch of healers, and they did the work to move past my grandmother stuff and my grandmother stuff before that and all of that to produce me. And I get to pick up from there. And then our children, like my nephew's about 4, and he's way more intuitive than I was when I was 4. And so just the energy is just becoming lighter, and we're discovering the truth that we don't need something outside of ourselves anymore, that we're going within and learning how to validate ourselves, and the structures of even families and religion and all of that are kind of just being shedded because we no longer need that. And the divine feminine energy is rising up, and we are as women more intuitive than men. That is our gift, and so we are being able to share that more because of everyone waking up and being able to talk about yoga and meditation and what feels good rather than what we feel we have to do. Yeah.
A lot of breaking patterns. There's
Yeah.
a lot of breaking patterns. Like in families, you have set things that grandmothers did to daughters, that did to children, that did to their children, and that's gone on for a very long time. And over time, we've learned to evolve enough that we can say, oh, that's a pattern. Like in my own personal life, I go through patterns and I can see it. And that's why the spiral means so much to me, because I know every 7 years I'm going back to this lesson, because it's happened every 7 years. And I started to notice it and I could time it. And I'm like, oh, now is the time to switch that pattern. And then the next time, you know, because like an onion, there's another time, and then you evolve a little bit more. And for my children, they're now getting that. And I got that from my mother. I saw her break patterns. I watched her say, no, this is not how I'm doing things anymore. And so it's a matter, I think, as well, as we've moved into this new age, of actually honoring that in our mothers, because we were always taught, well, the dad's in charge. But no, the woman holds a great amount of power. She's the one who gives life. So you have to honor that too. And I think we're finally getting to that point where we will join together and honor each other, which has never been something we've really been able to do for thousands of years.
Yeah, you bring up an interesting point. Because one of the things we were talking about before we came on the air today was taking accountability for yourself. And we talked about how people may be numbing themselves or turning to social media as a way to numb or to compare themselves to what's normal, what's not normal, what am I doing, why am I here? So do you feel like accountability for the self has lacked recently? Do you think people are trying to find something to blame their problem on rather than looking within?
Absolutely. I think that it's really easy with social media to look at it and someone's screaming at the top of their lungs on social media in all block letters that it's someone else's fault that they didn't get what they wanted, so they're going to stamp their feet, instead of looking at the fact that, well, wait a minute, why didn't I get that? And where's the lesson in that? Because if you're not getting what you want, the chances are there's a lesson in that for you. What pattern do you need to break? Is it a pattern where you feel like you can't be rich because you have to stay poor because you're used to that mindset? Well, then break that mindset and break through and get where you want to be. Is it a matter of, you know, there's all these different patterns that we follow, and social media, quite often, if you're friends with the wrong people, you keep getting that reinforced that you're not supposed to have that. Instead of certain people you surround yourself with will lift you up. And some of us are really lucky because we've been able to let go of the ones that don't support us in our being lifted up and being able to meet the next challenge. But some aren't, and some go further down in the gutter. And it's one of those things of make your decision, because it's an individual decision. You can go left or you can go right, or you can go straight. Nobody cares. It's about you and your life.
Make a choice. It's
Make
all
a choice.
Yeah.
Everything is a choice.
Yeah. What do you feel about self-accountability these days? Do you think they're blaming it on outside sources?
Yeah, sometimes. I like to say, you might need to see me for some hypnosis. You know, we all have thoughts, patterns, and beliefs. And some of them are working for us, and some of them may not be working for us. So if you can imagine yourself like a tree, your roots, everything from those first 7 years that you've learned from your elders, your environments, society, may not be working for you, and it's manifested out into your limbs of your tree. And so you may need a little help or guidance of some sort to say, wow, I keep noticing this, or I can't cross over that, and you know, to help me. And so, you know, social media is wonderful, but it has nothing to do with who you are.
Right.
It has nothing to do with who you are. You know, it's everybody's doing wonderfully on social media, and then they go to bed and they're crying and they're sobbing. I've had it bad. I can't, but I won't tell it on Facebook Live. But you know, so you know, find someone, because that's not real. That's
Right.
not real life. Your real life is something else inside here. And so I'm sure someone on this panel can help you with that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know if we were ever taught to take responsibility for ourselves or our life, but I've noticed myself is kind of like even when family members are like, oh, your dad did this or my sister did this 20 years ago, and we're all going to be mad at my sister for it. And if everyone's not in the family is not mad at the sister with the mom, then they're bad type of thing. And so I think for a long time we haven't taken accountability for our actions or for what things are happening to us. It's always been like, oh, God's punishing me, or the universe is really testing me today, instead of saying, okay, how am I attracting the situation? Because everything that's happening right now is an old manifestation. And so when you have when what's going on inside goes on your outside. So if you're living with chaos, or you're living with sadness, or you're living with not enoughness, that's what's going to be shown through you through relationships of how people are acting towards you. When you feel yourself with peace and clarity and knowingness, and I'm loved no matter what. Oh, if that person's going to react to me in a way that I don't want them to, I don't care, because I'm going to feel good, and that me feeling good is going to help them break that pattern of even coming that way, and keeping that relationship flowing in that certain way, if that makes sense. I'm like, I don't even know if I'm making sense right now. It's just coming through. But but yeah, so I think that especially today we are learning to take validation, or to take responsibility for ourselves, being able to see, okay, how did I attract this situation? There's certain instances, even like with myself with clients, or people I come in contact with, I feel that they're being needy, or just not even needy, but just not full of love, then how am I attracting those type of people towards me? And so I think that's really hard for some people to hear, especially when you've lived your life for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years of blaming somebody else for your unhappiness, or not being able to forgive and move on. But yeah, so I think now especially is the time that we're really learning to be able to take responsibility for ourselves.
Because everything we feel, that's ours.
Right.
Every trigger is ours. It's never about the other person.
Right.
No.
Even if you're angry as all heck, that's yours. And so it's looking back and saying, well, why did that affect me? Why am I feeling that? It always comes back to self. Yeah, I know. It's much easier to say, you did that to me. You did that. No,
What's
you
the saying?
did that.
And that's why you keep the 4 agreements close.
The 4 agreements, the book of the 4 agreements, yeah.
Because it's a good reminder that, it's not always about what's gone on in the outside. It's about what's going on the inside.
They say it's happening for me, not to me.
Yeah.
Even though it can feel like to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all a
good
gift.
reminder
Yeah,
that there's a growth
Yeah.
out of the stuff.
It's
Yeah.
always a lesson learned.
Yeah.
That's why we're here. We didn't sign
Yeah.
up to come to Earth School just to breeze through.
Oh, can we, please?
No, there's a lot of work we signed up to do here, that's for sure. So talk to me a little bit about how you each were brought up, and was there an organized religion or 2 or 3 that you were, belonging to and a part of? And talk to us a little bit about your evolution. How did you get to where you're at right now?
For me, I was brought up Church of England, which is Christian. It's very similar to the Catholic Church. I went to a Church of England school. We had assemblies every morning. We walked all the way to the church every time there was like a Easter, Christmas, whatever celebration, we'd walk to the church. My parents didn't really force us to church on Sundays, thank you. We actually took those Sundays and made them family days. So for me, that's really where I find my way of life, is those Sundays where instead of sitting in a church, we spent time being good to each other. And my mom was big on, you can sit in church or you can go out and do something nice for someone. Well, Jesus didn't sit in church. He went out and did nice things for people. So I think that's where I get a lot of the way that I think about it. But when I was 3, my grandfather started coming through to me. He died 3 days before my 3rd birthday, and he would come and he would sit and he would tell me stories, and I'd tell my mom and she'd freak out a little. She wasn't keen on it. And I kind of pushed it to one side, but I'd have things throughout my life that I'd see or I'd feel or I'd know, and it got to the point where I needed to really look at what was going on, and I found a group of women who were willing to teach me what they knew, and it wasn't exactly comfortable for me, but it was good enough for me to learn the lessons and learn how to do the routines so that when I open up, I'm safe, and so is my client. And it's from that, and then you learn Reiki and you read all these wonderful books that are out there, but you can read 1,000 books and all of them are going to resonate in some way, but just take the pieces you need. You do not have to follow them like A, B, C, and D. That is not what they're there for. They are just like everything else. They're a guide, and you get to choose what resonates. And then today, I'm not currently practicing properly. Sometimes I help people out if I have to, but they tell me when. And I know eventually I'll get sucked back in and do it professionally again. I'm not ready yet.
Okay. All right. Who's next?
I'm like, I'll go next. I was very in the lucky in the aspect of my parents never forced me to go to church or anything like that. They were both in a 12-step program, so higher power, and God it was a topic that we discussed all the time. And so I grew up believing that there was a higher power, that there was a God, that there was something outside of ourselves, that that's what I grew up with, was that there was something outside of ourselves to give us all this pleasure and clarity. But then, like, as I think around 12 years old, I had like a traumatic experience happen to me, and that's when I knew that I was supposed to be here for something bigger, and I got a message from God and my angels to move on. This specific thing was happening to me so that I could go on to this way. I didn't know I was going to be a psychic intuitive yoga teacher, but I thought I was going to be a counselor. But that really helped me dive deep into, okay, this is a pattern that I know that I'm not going to give to my family, so how do I uncover and go deeper? So I did therapy, I did, and then when I got older, I did the Reiki and the Seraphim and learning about the different energies and stuff like that to really help awaken myself. But so I grew up knowing that there was a higher power, but it's definitely evolved for me. Because I knew a lot of stuff that I was learning in my early years weren't necessarily true. So I've just always had that inner drive and inner knowing to go deeper and learn more, learn everything. Because every religion does have its benefit and value, and that's where we came from. And like April said, a lot of us have lived those lives of being Jewish or a Buddhist or of all that stuff. So. Yeah.
April, where'd you come from?
Out there. Way out there. I was actually born in a small town in Kentucky.
Wow.
So if you hear that little thing,
twang.
500 people. Now I get to live with, 2,000 or more in Vegas. So I grew up in a very traditional religious experience, and at 7, my grandfather passed away, who I was really close to, and I actually saw him ascend into the galaxy system with his own personal team of angels. Now at 7, being in a religious, traditional, experience, I didn't tell my parents that, because that was like woo-woo, and I knew better, but I actually saw him going up. And I really never had a place to have that conversation, because it's not like I went to my preacher or minister at that age, but it was real and a very astro kind of experience. And then, about 10, 12 years ago, I got introduced to the Wayshowers College, and I had a way of sharing that experience, because 12 years ago there was nothing in Vegas, right? Not holistic centers, and just got called to do the work of that college and to bring back those resources, and started teaching. So it gave me an outlet of kind of those metaphysical experiences that I just didn't have a way of sharing before. And so here I am.
Yeah. I grew up Catholic, and I went to night school. I think it was like every Monday or Wednesday or something every week. And I would get kicked out of class for talking too much. And I'd have to go sit out in the hallway. So it makes sense that now I own a spiritual center. I do. I remember them. Like, I'd get in trouble. Because I went more, well, I went because my mom told me I had to, and she watches all of these live broadcasts, so I know she's going to hear her shout out. I was forced to go at a young age, but I loved it because I could hang out with people. Mm-hmm. So for me, it was more about the community and goofing off. And then as time went on, I would go to unity churches. I've been to Christian churches, and I've always just felt the draw for me personally around spirituality and the other side. I've done a lot of research on near-death experiences. Mm-hmm. My pediatrician as a kid was one of the leading experts on children having near-death experiences. Mm-hmm. Then in college, I took a class with Dr. Raymond Moody, who's one of the leading experts on near-death experiences. So I think just opening up and broadening my horizons and what I believed in kind of forced me into this wide open space of spirituality. So I absolutely respect different religions and churches, and it's why I feel so drawn to even start my own fellowship and start a gathering for people associated with Spirit and Spark and the people that work here and come here. But it will definitely be more of a non-denominational flavor, more about the community and coming together and asking these big questions and having conversations about it. So we live in a very interesting world.
And a very interesting city.
Yeah, I would say so. Well, as we begin to wrap up, I'd like to just take an opportunity to go around the table. And for those that have watched this broadcast and join us on YouTube, tell them where they can find a little bit more about you. And I know you've got something you haven't even mentioned that you do for your professional work.
So my day job is as a realtor. I'm with VegasVIPHomes.com, Urban Nest, and my husband owns a pest control company. He very much eco-friendly all the way if he possibly can. Evo Pest Solutions.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay.
You can find me at Spirit and Spark.
Yes, you
at
can.
SpiritandSpark.com. I also teach yoga here on Sundays at 9:30. You have to check the schedule because it's not every Sunday, but tomorrow I'll be teaching a class. And it's all about breath work, meditation, movement with breath. It's amazing and beautiful. And yeah, that's...
You do phone sessions?
Oh, I do,
in person?
I'm thinking... Yes, I do in-person sessions here at Spirit and Spark, and I also do over the phone. So
yeah, and they work just the same.
They do, yeah, because we're just connecting with energy. It doesn't matter if you're here or in Canada.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or China, or
China,
Australia.
or Australia. Yes.
Yes. April, where can they find you?
You can take a look at my website. It's just like my name, AprilAzzolino.com. So that's AprilAzzolino.com. And you can get a feeling, a sense. And I am doing some specials in hypnosis because I just came back from Grace Space Hypnotherapy School. If you don't know it yet, you're going to. Because, Grace is adorable and my mentor. So, if you live in Las Vegas, I'm doing some live sessions and some specials. Don't have that on the website yet, but reach out. You never know.
Yeah. And spiritandspark.com. We have our class calendar on there, our online certifications, our private sessions, all that good stuff. Yeah, your picture has you and a horse.
Yes.
So, because there's two Jennifers.
Yes.
So, she's one with the horse.
Yeah.
I know. Well, it makes it easy to remember.
It does, yes.
Yeah. And of course, I offer private sessions over the phone and in person as well. I teach different classes. My specialty is psychic, which is past, present, future, as well as mediumship, which is connecting with loved ones on the other side. So, thank you to everyone for joining me today. It was a lot of fun. It goes really fast.
Yeah.
But I thank you for sharing your opinions, your insight, where you've been, And I think we're all really excited about this age of Aquarius and where we're headed to. I know I most certainly am, and I know we all signed up to help hold the light and do this together. So thank you for sharing this space with me today.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Until next time.
Bye.